The first scene of the movie plays out with Cooper and his daughter Riley on their way to a much-awaited concert of a popular singer in the city. This is supposed to be a reward for Riley after doing well in school, one of those special moments between father and daughter. Upon arrival, the crowd is in a frenzy as they await the singer's appearance. Sure enough, out of her tour bus steps the artist, Lady Raven, who greets her fans with a bright smile before heading inside. In the following scene at the entrance, Cooper and Riley line up, and instantly, a skeptical sensation enters Cooper's mind as he notices a huge number of police officers present. However, he sorts himself out again. The few feet radius area around the entrance is all that Cooper's keen eye sees. Police deployed at strategic points across the area, frowning faces surveying the crowd, and scores of surveillance cameras. Determined to make it a memorable night for his daughter, Cooper records Riley dancing delightfully with a group of girls and purchases her favorite snacks. Before the concert begins, they share a short yet deep talk, where Riley confides in her father that she is alienated by her peers in school, a matter that upsets Cooper. However, she reassures him that she is immune to their bullying. As they settle in the theater, Cooper realizes the increased security around. The officers are standing in such an enormous number that it starts getting weird, even for a place of this size. He recomposes himself. The crowd is getting hyped, waiting for Raven's performance as suddenly, the lights dim and the singer heads on stage to roars of applause. Cooper is happy, as his daughter Riley seems to be having the time of her life. Though he is momentarily happy, the feeling of being watched nagged at Cooper's brain. Instantly, afterwards, Cooper tells Riley that he has to go to the bathroom. He immediately goes inside and, hiding well, watches a stream from a security camera on his phone. To the casual observer, Cooper is a caring father, but beneath his skin, he hides the dark and gruesome fact that he is the infamous serial slayer, the Butcher. He watches his latest victim, Spencer, as he is held captive in a secret lair, fighting for his life to be set free from the Butcher's grasp. Meanwhile, Cooper struggles with unsettling moments. He suffers from a brief, disoriented hallucination of his mother standing in front of him, which increases his anxiety. As he walks back to his seat, more police cars appear outside, adding to our excitement. What would happen next? On his way back, Jody's mother approaches him politely and reassures him that, at Riley's age, it is quite common to be antisocial, and that her daughter will be very happy to include Riley in her activities. Perturbed, Cooper thanks her and rushes away. As soon as Lady Raven finishes her first performance and switches to the piano, Cooper walks back to Riley. Cooper continues to stress about the increasing police presence, raising even more questions in his mind, while Riley becomes entranced by the performance. After the set is over, Cooper and Riley go to a merchandise stand. Riley spots a t-shirt that she wants, but it is out of stock. More will be available in 10 minutes, promises Jimmy, the dealer. Cooper takes advantage, pulls Jimmy aside, and inquires about the increased security. He informs Cooper that the police got a tip that the Butcher is at the show and plan to arrest him. Whereas, in fact, the whole drama with its pomp and show was a plan for catching that scary man. He further tells that there is tight security at all the entrances and exits, and no one can escape without being checked. On the other hand, behind the stage, there is one passage without security. Under the guise of searching for snacks, Cooper drags Riley around the arena while inspecting the security arrangement. His thoughts are constantly racing with the possibility that the police would arrest him. When he sees a drunken lady near the stairs, he gives her a light push, and she falls immediately on the ground, which diverts the policeman's attention. He makes use of the situation and attempts to run away. But, much to his bad luck, he finds the police outside. With no other choice in hand, he finds himself compelled to go back to the concert with Riley. Shortly after reseating, another performer appears on a platform that rises from the stage floor as Lady Raven announces the presence of a special guest. Ever the clever one, Cooper looks at the open hatch and suggests to Riley that they sneak in for amusement, but she rebuffs his request, calling him out for his weird behavior. Staying, he watches the hatch close, his placid exterior betraying a simmering fury. Cooper is determined, and thus he returns to the t-shirt stand and follows Jamie back to the supply room. He catches sight of Jamie using a keycard to enter. Cooper helps him move the boxes, trying to snatch the keycard. Finally, he succeeds in his sly plan. Among other sensitive details and graphic images of the victims, Jamie, an eager follower of the Butcher case, reveals that the staff members had received special emergency training in addition to a password, Hamilton, for the day. With the t-shirt in hand, Cooper enters the employees' break room using Jamie's keycard. He listens intently as the police discuss their strategy to isolate the Butcher from the public. Disguised as an employee, Cooper inches his way toward the snack table, fitting in while he gathers critical information. Not far away, he spots a photograph of his latest crime scene, a grim reminder of his dark double life. When a police officer asks for sugar, Cooper seizes the opportunity to project an image of affability and helpfulness, offering it with a disarming smile. But as he turns to leave, he subtly steals a radio from a police bag. His movements fluid and calculated, but his progress is soon thwarted in the hall when Jody's mother confronts him once more. Her cutting glance and biting words command attention, impossible to ignore. When Cooper tries to walk past her, annoyance flashes through her expression. Their intense argument has drawn the attention of two passing officers, who move in to intervene. But just as they step in, a man suddenly screams in the building. The officers rush in the direction of the commotion near the entrance, where a cluster of cops are holding down a screaming man. Amidst the bedlam, Cooper's sensitive eyes catch Josephine's presence among the officers, which makes him even more uncomfortable. Slipping back into his seat, Cooper puts an earbud in his ear, using the stolen police radio to gather information. He learns that the man just taken into custody isn't the main suspect. He's just a thief who panicked, mistakenly believing the police were after him. Meanwhile, other officers start to move through the crowd, searching for another suspect. On the radio, Cooper hears a description of the man they're searching for. A white male in his 30s, with an animal tattoo on his right arm. His stomach tightens. The description suits him perfectly. Thinking on his feet, Cooper notices the proximity of a girl's bag, and hanging from it, sees a bracelet. With one deft motion, he retrieves the bracelet and slips it onto his wrist, covering up his tattoo just in time. After discreetly checking the venue's map on his phone, Cooper turns to Riley and casually claims he had left his credit card at the t-shirt stand, and he is going to retrieve it. As he walks away, the police radio squawks to life, with reports that the FBI is increasing security, setting up tents outside the building, and putting up barricades along the surrounding streets. Coop is seen contemplating setting off the fire alarm in order to create a diversion, but then quickly catches sight of a security camera watching him. Foiled in his scheme, he hears Josephine's voice crackling over the radio, predicting his probable actions. Thinking fast, Cooper ducks into the burger stand, where he intentionally fries the fryer by dropping 2 small bottles into the bubbling oil. Moments after he slips away, a worker approaches the fryer, only to find the floating bottles. Before anyone can react, the bottles explode violently, sending scalding oil in all directions and sparking chaos among the customers. The air is filled with screams and shouts that immediately get the attention of the officers close by. Taking the panic to his advantage, Cooper grabs an apron and wraps it around himself, blending in seamlessly with the staff. He hastily makes his way up to the roof in an attempt to escape, yet he finds even more police officers. Cooper quickly plays the part of being panicked and informs them that he retreated to the roof for fresh air after the chaos in the kitchen. The officers inspect him distrustfully and radio in to check his story. Cooper responds with the prearranged code word, Hamilton. While they buy his explanation for the moment, their distrust does not dissipate, and they ask for his identification card. By pure chance, Cooper finds a wallet tucked inside the apron's pocket, along with a venue card that immediately dismisses the suspicion of the officers. Before leaving, he nonchalantly asks about Josephine, wondering about her presence, to which he finds out she's an experienced profiler, pivotal in apprehending one of the most notorious serial slayers of recent times. Coming down the stairs, Cooper is momentarily shocked by the sight of the badly burnt worker standing in the hall. His mind is soon engulfed, however, in a quick but disturbing hallucination of his mother standing beside the worker. He quickly shakes off the frightening vision and returns to the worried face of Riley. He appeases her concern with a fabricated story of being cornered by Jody's mom. Riley tries to soothe him by telling him not to worry about her classmates anymore. She informs him that she has made some new friends and points out the girls who are sitting beside her. Riley tells her father that the next part of the concert is where Raven picks a girl from the audience to go on stage and backstage. Seizing the moment, Cooper approaches a crowd handler with a story rehearsed to perfection. Riley had recently overcome leukemia, and Lady Raven had been an inspiration during her recovery. The handler, moved by the story, nods sympathetically. As the police begin to inch closer, Cooper's gamble pays off. Riley is selected to go on stage, and both get backstage passes. The handler speaks with the police officer, securing their passage. Riley, though nervous, cannot hide her excitement as she is called forward by Raven. Cooper watches from among the crowd, quietly savoring the pure joy of this moment in his daughter's life, trying to appear composed in view of the police officers present. The crowd is filled with angry faces, including Jody and her mother, as they watch Riley take the stage. The little girl dances and sings with her idol, living her dream. As the song ends, Cooper spots a girl collapsing in the crowd. He pushes his way through to her without thinking and scoops her up in his arms, asking the crew to get her somewhere safe. They take him backstage, narrowly missing Josephine. Cooper remains calm, helping the girl's recovery and even offering her juice. The manager, thankful for his intervention, allows him to watch the rest of the concert from his side of the stage. The post-concert chaos is something he would like to avoid. Therefore, Cooper asks the manager whether they can leave through the backstage door. The manager complies, but as the song wraps up, Cooper catches wind over the police radio that every male is going to be checked on their way out. When he attempts to leave with Riley, more police officers block his way at the backstage exit. Cooper overhears Josephine in a nearby room speaking to Raven about the police's extended surveillance plan. The cameras, Josephine explains, will have shot photos and information on every attendee. With desperation now kicking in, Cooper approaches Raven with a calculated request. They need to have a talk in private about the condition of Riley. Once in her dressing room, Cooper takes a deep breath and confesses that he's the butcher. He shows Raven a video of Spencer locked in a cell and reveals his sinister device, a button that would release carbon monoxide into the cell, slaying Spencer before the officers could intervene. He offers Raven a deal. If she cooperates, Spencer will be spared. Calculating but willing to protect herself and Spencer, Raven agrees reluctantly. Eventually, Cooper and Riley leave with Raven in a limousine to ensure that they escape without being searched. Outside the main entrance, the crowd is held up as police are checking everyone, which heightens Josephine's anxiety for nothing. As they ride along, Cooper asks the driver to go in the direction where he parked his car. But surprisingly, Raven asks Riley whether she can go to her home. An eager Riley calls her mother for permission, and Cooper, despite his scary glances, has no choice but to smile and give the driver his home address. Upon arrival, they are warmly welcomed by Cooper's wife, Rachel, and their other child. As they enter the house, Cooper, ever watchful, reminds Raven of the stakes. If she attempts anything, Spencer will pay the price. Over coffee and cake, Rachel asks about the concert, and Raven nonchalantly tells her about the police action involved in capturing the butcher. She explains that the FBI found a receipt for a concert ticket at one of the butcher's fake residences, which led them to contact her for the plan. She says Josephine has been profiling the butcher for some time and figured he's a white male in his 30s, early 40s, someone with a position of power, driving a dark car, probably suffering from OCD, and just highly calculated with his actions. Josephine also proposed a troubled relationship with his mother, which has left deep scars. Cooper visibly grows uncomfortable under the weight of Josephine's very spot-on observations. He tries to change the subject, mentioning that it's getting late, but Raven, ever clever, suggests playing a song on the family piano, much to Riley's delight. Raven asks Riley to sit next to her and, while doing so, slyly snatches Riley's phone to hide it. Following an outstanding performance, Raven suggests taking a selfie. Unable to find her phone, Riley suggests using her father's phone. Raven immediately takes Cooper's phone. The latter couldn't object, fearing exposing himself in front of his family. After taking the picture, Raven asks to use the bathroom. In one swift motion, she locks the door behind her, phone in hand, as Cooper watches his unease grow with each passing second. Cooper pounds on the door incessantly, his maniacal behavior scaring his family. Inside, Raven unlocks the phone and, in that small window of opportunity, makes a call to Spencer. She asks him in a hurry about his whereabouts. Spencer, panicked, starts to describe tiny yet vital details: the color of the door, a nearby statue. Taking no time to waste, Raven opens a live stream from her own phone, relaying the clues of Spencer. Soon after, one of her followers recognizes the location and calls the police immediately. Raven sends a text to her driver, who is still waiting outside, urging him to call the police. When she checks Cooper's phone again, the lock screen has mysteriously reappeared. A wave of panic washes over her as she realizes her time is running out. She takes a deep breath, her voice ringing out steadily against the bedlam as she calls out Cooper's real identity. A chill settles over the air, just as creepy noises and muffled screams break out on the other side of the door. The door swings open just then to show pale and shaking Cooper. His eyes dart nervously as he grabs his phone and checks Spencer's location, but to his horror, Spencer's gone. Dragging Raven toward the garage in a frenzy, Cooper grabs his crime bag. Ever clever, he stuffs her into his wife's car in an attempt to secure a safe escape. In a soft tone, hoping to entreat his humanity, Raven tries to reason with him, but soon after, she realizes that she is wasting her time. Coldly, he throws a bombshell on her. She is going to be his last victim before he takes his own. But once he opens the garage door, he stops silent in his tracks at the sight outside, his family blocking the exit. While Cooper had locked them earlier into Riley's room, he forgot about the window. For the first time, his carefully calculated world begins to crumble. Seizing the moment, Raven attempts a daring escape from the car. Suddenly, the police arrive and whisk Cooper's family away to safety. Terrified, Cooper rushes into his closet. In the following sequence, Raven rides her limo to find her usual driver replaced by an officer to keep her safe. Meanwhile, the police raid Cooper's house and find a secret tunnel leading to the neighbor's yard, which is Cooper's secret escape path. But just as Raven starts to feel safe, the limo screeches to a stop. The officer in the front seat turns toward her, and to her horror, suddenly she gets cuffed to a metal bar. A chilling realization dawns. It's Cooper, in a police uniform. Cooper speaks with disarming calm, announcing that he is going to take her to one of his very few getaway houses, where he will finally end her and thus satiate the dark impulses that have been out of control in him since he saw her on stage. As the limousine slows down at a red light, Raven lowers the window and shrieks for help, pleading with passers-by to call the police. A crowd quickly forms, blocking the limousine from going any further. Cooper, momentarily distracted by Rachel's belongings on the car seat, whereas Raven yanks with all her might and the metal bar is finally twisted free from the seat. Before Cooper can even move, she leaps out of the limo. All hell breaks loose when the police officers show up. The crowd disperses. The officers start shooting at the limo. When the police check the limo, they find it empty. Cooper has changed, chameleon-like, into the crowd with the hoodie of his wife pulled over his head. A shaken but resolved Raven is taken to one of Cooper's crimes. She appreciates the fan who helped alert the authorities and checks on Spencer. On the other hand, Rachel returns home after dropping the kids at her sister's place, but doesn't remain relieved for long. Josephine has foreseen danger and warns Rachel to get out, which Rachel refuses, determined to stay. She prepares to sit down and have a cup of tea and look over some of the security camera's footage. The photos confirm her worst fears: Spencer's abduction by her husband. Her reverie is suddenly interrupted when Cooper appears. He has entered the house unnoticed. His eyes are aglow with anger. Convinced that Rachel has betrayed him, he accuses her. Now facing the wrath of her husband, Rachel finally admits the truth. She confesses how weeks ago she had become suspicious about his behavior. His clothes had smelt of hospital cleaning fluid, and a lie he told a neighbor had raised alarm bells. One day, she had followed him to one of his other houses, leaving a ticket receipt behind as a clue before tipping off the police anonymously, in the hope that they would disprove her suspicions. Livid, Cooper rips open his shirt, the stench of his crimes clinging to him. He grabs a knife, determined to murder his wife. Thinking quickly, Rachel tries to distract him by offering him some pie Riley had baked for their supposed celebration. Intrigued by how calm she has remained, Cooper agrees to eat it, but only after seeing Rachel take a bite first. He eats while having their last moments together and sharing his ghastly thoughts and how finality normally calms him. But Rachel's treachery has now stirred an anger that he can't contain. Mid-sentence, Cooper falters. His dizziness turns into intensification as he realizes Rachel has laced the pie with sedatives she had taken from his crime bag. Just as he starts to collapse, a voice at the doorway slices through the tension. It's his mother, calling him a monster. The words pierce Cooper's crazed mind like daggers, and tears begin to well up in his eyes. He reaches out for her, but just as he does, the police officers burst in, tasing him and bringing him to the ground. Cooper struggles furiously, knocking one of the officers to the ground, but Josephine comes around with another taser. Finally, they subdue him. They drag him out in cuffs, and on the way out, Cooper begs for the chance to pick up Riley's fallen bicycle. The officers hesitate, and in that fleeting moment, Riley, unaware of the horror her father has wrought, rushes to hug him. Her innocent gesture visibly shakes Cooper as he is led away. Riding in the back of the police truck, Cooper is seen smiling. He has stolen a spoke from Riley's bicycle wheel, and he has already started picking the lock on his cuffs. His maniacal laughter echoes as the doors slam shut. Meanwhile, Jamie, who once unwittingly helped Cooper, watches the news in horror. The weight of his involvement crushes him as the dark deeds of Cooper come to light.